there, that'd be awesome.
Sounds great. All right, guys. So I suggest we give it a start because I see here it's already 10:03. So I'm sure some people might join in, but we're already 17 here. So I think this is already good enough for us to get going. So thank you. First of all, thank you so much, Mackenzie, and all the Pratt team for having us and having me today to introduce the ArtBound Initiative program. To give you some background, my name is Laura, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of the program. So I'm going to tell you today a little bit more about what we do on our end. And then I have also invited in 10 minutes a Pratt alum, Eula, who is going to join us. Eula did our program and finished it not too long ago, and now just got hired actually. So she's in her job now. And so I've asked Eula to join us in 10 minutes so that she can talk a little bit more about her experience with the program. And then guys, I'm happy to address any questions that you might have, whether it's about the program, whether it's about internships in general, because that's something that I'm doing day in and out and talking to recruiters in the creative field. So let me go ahead and share my screen. I want to share with you a short presentation that should last about 10 minutes. And then afterwards we can chat and I can address your questions. So basically, ABI, ArtBound Initiative, is a global internship program for creatives. The reason why we decided to launch the program in 2016 is because we know that those fields are very much about who you know. Obviously, it's always the story where you are this big advertising agency and then you're applying for an internship, and then finally it's the big boss who had like, you know, a nephew and who needed an internship this summer, and that's how, you know, they got the internship. It's very much about, you know, it's a little bit about nepotism, and it's also very, very close circles. So that has always been the case, and I think specifically now even more with the COVID crisis, like people laying off, you know, there was a lot of layoffs in the industry, etc. And so I think it's becoming even more competitive. So the concept of this program was to kind of create a career accelerator that would allow students and also recent graduates to get a lot of career coaching, but also get an opportunity in the field, get access to cultural events and meeting other participants and alumni. So building exactly like you guys have at Pratt. So you guys have your own community, building an additional community of people in the field, but on a global scale as well. So basically, we have three types of programs that we offer. We have an international program, which sends students in different locations. So we offer internships in New York, obviously you guys are here, in London, in Berlin, in Hong Kong, and we are just opening up Melbourne and Sydney, which hopefully will be opening up in 2022. We also have a local program. So that local program is obviously in New York for you guys, and it's available for not only international students, but also local students. With the local program, we of course don't handle all the logistics of traveling and stuff like that. We really focus everything on career coaching, internship, and events. And then we also offer one-on-one coaching. So that's for people who don't really need an internship, but still want to do coaching on resume, on portfolio, on networking skills, on how to build up your online brand as a creative. We have a few coaching sessions that are all included into our program, but we made them also separate as well. So I want to show you a quick video of 60 seconds of one of our one of our participants, Olivia, who's from Australia and who came to New York, that will just give you a little bit of a feel for the program. And then afterwards, I'll break it down for you in terms of the steps.
I wanted to go international to experience a life other than the one I had been living back at home, also to show my dedication to my career. The experience of ArtBound has been amazing. They've been so helpful in the process of being here. Working in this internship has shown that I have a lot of confidence and that I can really do this. I'm Olivia, I'm from Sydney, Australia, and I studied at the University of Technology, Sydney. My internship is at Paperwhite Studio. Paperwhite is a graphic design studio focused on branding for hospitality. Right now I'm working on creating logos for a big company for a food market. I've learned so much while working at my internship. I've learned how to work with clients, how to start a brand from scratch, and just how to work professionally and quickly as well. I've grown a lot in the last 4 months. I'm actually really thankful that ArtBound has introduced me to the other interns that they've included in New York. They've become my family and they are absolutely amazing.
So that's a short video of Olivia. So she's a design intern and she interned for Paperwhite Studio, which is actually an agency here in New York in Bushwick. They have a pretty cool like loft type of office and they're working mainly for local brands, lots of them in hospitality. I don't know if you guys know, for example, by Chloe, the vegan restaurant. So they're doing a lot of branding. So she was working for the agency for 4 months, which was really great because obviously she was a taught designer and had a bachelor, but there's a difference between what you do in school and going in the fast pace of an agency, which is not the same. So I think that allowed her to really step up as well. So as I was mentioning, we have internships in different locations all across. And so NYC, London, Berlin, Hong Kong, and now opening up Melbourne, Sydney in 2022, hopefully if Australia reopens based on the situation with COVID. To give you some kind of idea of what we do, we are a program that's usually we're very focused on the creatives, okay? We don't do anything in finance, banking at all. So we have stuff in communication and advertising. So anything relating to marketing, social media, PR, events, editorial, fashion marketing, all those fields. We also have several opportunities in design, whether it's graphic design, motion, illustration, web design, UI, UX, a little bit of fashion design, although that's not our biggest forte, some industrial design, architecture, interior design as well. And then we also have opportunities in the entertainment industry. So anything relating to TV, film, production, theater, obviously that's not a thing right now, but when things reopen, performing arts as well. And then we also have a lot of the technical aspects of entertainment. So if you're doing VFX, for example, or animation for film and TV, that's something that we do as well. We have also opportunities in music, in talent management, etc. And then visual arts. That's how we started back in the days in 2016. We were only doing visual arts. Then we opened it up. So visual arts, we're doing fine arts, photography, working with galleries, arts non-for-profits, and organizations to do cultural management and arts administration. So that's kind of like the main opportunities that we offer. Now, in terms of the key points of the program, we offer internships that are from 2 month minimum up to 6 months. I will say one thing, it's rare that we do 2 months. We do 2 months only if you're an artist and you want to intern in another artist studio. If you are a designer and you want to work for a creative agency, 2 months is too short. Usually the companies want 3 months at least. But we do 2 to 6 months because some people intern in the summer, some people intern in the fall, like during their semester, some people during the spring. So the spring, for example, would be a 5-month internship, the fall would be a 4-month. So things are quite flexible, and we have flexible start dates as well throughout the year. One thing for you guys to remember is our application deadlines, because that's always a tricky thing. So if you want to do a local program, you need to apply 3 months before. So for example, the reason why we set up actually this info session now is because our summer deadline for New York is coming up on February 15. So it's like literally right around the corner. So something to kind of keep in mind if you guys are thinking for the summer, that's for local. If you guys want to do international, it's even more in advance. So for example, if you wanted to go abroad this summer, it's already too late. So you would need to think about it for summer 2022, at least too late with us. Maybe you can pull it off on your end, but too late with us. So just remember that about the program is like, if you guys are interested in applying, contact us and double check your application deadlines, because that's something that, if you pass the deadline, you passed it and you have to wait the next term. Another thing is that we can offer academic credits. So that's something that you guys can liaise with faculty, with the career office, and we can liaise on our end as well with the employers to get all the training plans and documents that needs to be signed as well, so you guys can advance your degree. So I'm going to run you through quickly the main steps of the program, and then afterwards we'll break it up and chat and talk to Yula and talk to you guys with any of your questions. So step number 1 is basically to go on our website, where you will see an application page where you can actually fill out a form to apply to the program. So in the form, it's all the basic info from you guys, but on top of that, we'll need your resume, we'll need your portfolio as well if you're some form of a creative, whether a designer, fashion design artist. We'll need to see your portfolio. It can be either a PDF or a website if you have a link. And then we'll also ask you guys to submit 2 letters of recommendations. So for some of you guys who might think of applying for the summer, don't sweat it. You can apply and like upload a document that tells us who your references will be, and you can submit those later, because I know that it's not going to be in 2 weeks that you guys are going to get recommendation letters. It takes time normally, and a little bit of harassing your tutors and or your former bosses. So submit those when they're ready. But if you're applying for next year or for the fall, for example, think about it now so that you can submit everything. Once you'll finish submitting your application, you will actually have a Skype interview with me, so that we can talk a bit more one-on-one about your career objectives and kind of understand how the program will be benefiting your career. And after that, I will forward your application, my notes as well, to our committee, and then we'll be reviewing your entire profile, and we'll let you know if you've been accepted or not into the program. We have a selection process because we're small, so we have maximum maybe 70 to 100 people per year at the very max in all of our destinations. So that doesn't allow us to process that many people, which is why we have this selection process to make sure that we choose quality over quantity. So if you get in, we'll start with our coaching program. This program is like very extensive on the coaching, I will say. It's not that it's a lot of work for you guys, but it's definitely going to be a process of like refining what your dream jobs are. That's actually Eula's portfolio, guys. I don't know if she joined yet, but I just added here so that you guys can see. It's her former portfolio. She has a new one since then. But basically, we're gonna work on refining your dream job, putting together an action plan about what's going on in the next 6 months, year, to kind of get there a bit faster. And then we'll also revise your resume by pairing you with a professional resume writer. And then we'll also pair you with somebody in your field. If you're creative, you'll talk to, like, for example, let's say you're a designer, you'll talk to a recruiter, usually in the advertising industry, to kind of take a look at your portfolio, give you some feedback. If you are somebody that's working in comm or marketing, you might talk to a recruiter who's in marketing, for example. So, and that will be more of a session to kind of understand a little bit more what the industry is as opposed to a portfolio review. So that first step is kind of a way for us to make sure that your profile looks super solid, because obviously New York and all our other destinations is super competitive. So we want to make sure that you guys look good before we start reaching out to the companies. So after that, we'll start reaching out to the firms. So that's when basically you guys can kind of step back a little bit, or you can also be involved as much as you want. But we'll start to basically reach out to companies on your behalf to push your resume directly to them. And as soon as one of them is interested, we'll set you guys up for a Skype interview or in-person interview based on where you are. And basically, we'll prepare you for this interview. So we have a whole interview prep. We do a mock-up interview, because nailing a job interview is like an art form. It's not an easy thing to do. So we'll give you a lot of preparation to that, which you can use for this internship and obviously for your next interviews to come in your career as well. So we'll do that, until we find you an opportunity, basically. Maybe we'll reach out to 1 company, 5 companies, 10 companies, 50 companies, until we're able to get you an internship. So as soon as that's the case, we'll move on to basically the next step. If you're going international, we'll handle all your visa, your insurance, your housing, your airport pickup. So we handle all the hustle basically of like relocating, which is definitely a hustle. So we'll try to kind of do that so that it feels a bit more streamlined for you guys. If you're doing the New York program, of course, then you can skip the step. It's not going to be relevant to you guys. Then the last step begins, which is obviously the best one, which is you're starting your internship. And when that happens, if you're going abroad, we'll meet you up for an in-city orientation to kind of get you situated. If it's already in New York, we will skip that step, but we'll be doing events every 3 months or every 3 weeks, or every month, with all the other participants, plus the alumni as well. And that, in my opinion, is like kind of the coolest aspect of the program. And maybe Eula will tell you a little bit more about that as well. Is like you get to know a lot of people from different, not just Pratt students, but also Parsons students and FIT students and people from like RMIT in Australia and Chinese University of Hong Kong. Like we have a lot of people that are from pretty much all over, and that's kind of the cool aspect in my opinion. And so you'll gain access to an alumni network, which I think is very strategic because the people that we select in our program are people that we're pretty sure will be big figures in this industry in a few years. So I think it's quite strategic to start building the relationships now and kind of grow all together. So in terms of the program fee, there's two different program fees. There's one that's for the local program, which is $19.50, and that is cheaper than the international program, of course, because for the international program, we have all the logistical aspects that are coming into it as well. So for the program fee, we also have scholarships, guys, just so that you know as well. We offer scholarships that are up to $1,000. Plus, we also have a scholarship for creative diversity, which actually offers a full scholarship for our program for people that are coming in from diverse backgrounds, whether it's like across, race, ethnicity, sexuality, gender identity. So you can see we have a scholarship page on our website as well, where you can read a bit more about that. Just one thing for you guys to know is the scholarship for creative diversity is only available in New York, unfortunately, because we don't have enough funding to be able to give out a full tuition for international. Plus we wouldn't have enough funding to like cover your rent and all those things. So we made it available for New York, and that one is only available to US citizens or permanent residents. And the reason behind it is because we're trying to do this also for the students and recent grads to get hired afterwards. So there's no visa sponsorship barrier behind it. So that's a little bit more about the program now. Highly recommend you guys, if you're interested, to go on our website after and like check it out. There's a lot of information there, a lot of testimonials. If you go on our Instagram as well, in our highlights, you can see a lot of the companies that we work with. And obviously I'm happy to answer any questions about that afterwards. So I'm going to stop talking now because I think it was a lot of info, and let me break it now. I think I saw Eula's face just 2 minutes ago. So I'm going to ask you, Eula, are you here? Are you around?
Hey, I'm here.
Hey, Eula. So thank you for coming. I know you're working, so we're not going to take too much of your time. But I just wanted to kind of like have you here to tell a little bit more about your experience, because obviously I'm the co-founder of the program, so I'm going to tell everybody that's awesome. But I think it's good to like hear it for somebody that did the program and not me, who is very biased for it. So I just wanted to, have you tell a little bit more about your experience, your internship at Super Union, and now your experience at Mojo.
Yeah, of course. So, hi everyone, my name is Eula, and as some of you probably know, I'm a 2020 graduate, and 2020 is definitely a difficult game, looking for job, internships, things like that. So I am very honored and happy to work with Laura, and that's how I got an internship and now like a full-time job offer working at Mojo Supermarket. It's a creative agency back here in New York. So I'm very happy about it. And the process working with Laura and ABI, I feel it's just very lucky, and I got a lot of help. So last night I was thinking about like, what are the most sophisticated help that I received from this program. I feel like there are three things that I feel really grateful, and that's how I helped me to land on this. So first thing, I feel like Laura and ABI helped me to plan ahead of time, long time ago. I met Laura, I think the beginning of 2020, and that's back before the pandemic hits, before everything. And even then, Laura helped me to set up a game goal, like how we can get the internship, like coaching section, meet with, I think I met with a recruiter and HR who gave me like real life advice about like how you should improve to get a job. So things like that really helped me. And Laura also helped me to develop like a professional connections in the industry. Like she really helped me to plan a long list Google document and with all the people that we should talking with, and keep track of all the conversations, make sure we follow up for every email, things like that. Details like that, I feel like as a fresh graduate, I sometimes forgot to do it or like don't know what's the best way to approach it. So Laura and ABI helped me with that as well. And I also, through ABI, I met, Laura introduced me to a lot of new connections, new people in the industry. Mojo Supermarket, this place I'm working at right now, Laura introduced me to them, so I'm super grateful. Also, I just met a lot of ABI alumni. They're great, and some of them are in New York, some of them are back in Australia, places like all over the world. And it's just great to hearing, make friends with people in the industry and just hanging around. And third but not least, like Laura helped me to set up a goal that's not just about like how to land on an internship. It's more like a overall career coaching, like guidance, things like that. So she helped me to land on this Mojo Supermarket job offer. It's a full-time job offer. And also she asked me in the beginning of the career, like the beginning of this, and she was like, what is your goal? Like, what do you want to be? And I'm like, I want to be a creative content creator and things like that. So she also gave me guidance like how to do that. And I think this Laura probably did not even know yet. I didn't got time to tell her, but I started my food blogger and now I have like 3,000 followers. And just yesterday I got a legit invite from like I think a New York blogger, and she wants me to collaborate with me and do things together. So I'm super excited, and this is not something that is way beyond internship, and I'm so grateful that Laura gave me guidance through career throughout.
Thank you, Yula. That's awesome. I didn't know about it. That's amazing. And you have to tell me. I need to follow everything. Of course, what Yula is not telling you guys is that Yula is super talented, which made our job a bit easier, I'll have to say. And she was really on top of her game about like all the connections that she had. I think we're super hands-on with Yula because she had like a list of recruiters in advertising, like really a game plan. So we took a look at everything, like who's who, which emails to do, etc. So it was super cool to see. And honestly, she landed first like this great internship at Super Union, who was super cool. And I believe that she would have been hired there if it wasn't for the pandemic that happened and that kind of like injured everything. But still after that, like, she was able to manage. And I knew a few other people and few agencies. She got a freelance gig right away with Chimney Group, which is a very cool post-production and content company. And then right after, she got Mojo as well that were in contact, and people were fighting for Yula. There was a moment where the two of them wanted to get her on full-time job. So that was amazing. So that's, of course, Yula is a great success story. I will say that it's not always guaranteed that you get a job out of it, but it's really based on your performance and like, on what you're going to give. And she really delivered. And that's the reason why she's now working with Mojo, who's like really cool agency. They did they did a Fenty Savage campaign, right, Yula?
Yeah, and we recently did a Girl Who Code campaign, basically encouraging more girl coder to code, and we break the internet. Is basically the concept is that without girl coder, the internet gonna crash because that like we're the good person that make the internet working. So cool ideas like that. I'm so excited, and there are more that's launching soon.
That's awesome. So do you guys have, Yula, thank you so much. And if you need to jump off, like feel free, if you have time to chill out with us a little bit, stay on, of course. If you guys have any questions about the program now, I want to open it up. Obviously, we've got still 30 minutes together on our end. And, anything that I can help you clarify. And don't think, there's never a personal question. It actually ends up helping out everybody. So don't hesitate. If you want to raise your hand or unmute or type it in the chat box, however you guys want to do it.
Hi, I have a question about the international program.
Yes.
So I'm currently in Taiwan, but I am a resident of Hong Kong.
Yeah.
So I was thinking if I want to apply for something in Hong Kong, then is that still an international program? And since I don't need to pay for really like insurance and stuff like that, then how would that
That's
differ?
a great question. That's a great, well, if you actually are a Hong Kong citizen and you already are all set and you don't need visa or anything like that, you could probably qualify for our local program in HK. And in HK, I will say we actually have pretty cool agencies in Hong Kong. I don't know, what are you doing? Sorry, what do you study?
Oh, I study graphic design, sorry.
Okay, so graphic design is really good because actually in Hong Kong we don't have tons of partners anymore in Hong Kong because we kind of like made the program a little bit in pause because of the situation that was happening there plus COVID. But we actually work with both TBWA and McCann in Hong Kong. So that's actually like our biggest agencies partners are in Hong Kong. I remember with Yula we're like kind of debating about should we go for Hong Kong because they were the big ones are over there. So that's definitely something that we could target. We also work with High Beast as well in Hong Kong, who I know also take in-house design interns. So yeah, that would probably fall under our local program if you don't need the help with all of that.
Is the local program the same deadline as New York, or is it already over?
It would be no, actually, it would be the same. It would be the same. If you wanted to do something this summer in Hong Kong, it would be the same. But yeah, actually, you can go back because Hong Kong is closed right now. But you're a citizen, so you're good. You would be able.
Yeah.
To, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I see.
same
Thank you.
deadline, February 15. So I'm seeing here, does that answer you? Okay, perfect. So I'm seeing here some questions in the chat that I'm going to also read. So does the program accept freshman students? That's a great question. Actually, we rarely do, I'll be honest. We've had in the past accepted freshman students that had like crazy portfolios or that really had, I don't know how, but had like tons of experience already and were super mature. I will say though, you can attempt it. If you're not accepted one term, you're not going to be banned forever, right? You can reapply like the year later or the next term. We've had some people that applied like 2 times, didn't get in the first time, but then got in the second time. I think that it's most likely that second, third, fourth year, and then masters and also recent grads is usually what we end up going for. So but it's good that if you know about it as a freshman, you can start preparing, right? You can kind of start like putting together your portfolio if you're creative, putting together some maybe resume, some maybe internships, or like just assisting people, just like some form of experience in the field, which is always helpful. I'm seeing here as well another question before I open it back. Hello, I'm a sophomore currently going into the senior year. What program out of the 3 would be best for me at this stage? Look, it really depends like what your goal is. I think that if you already have some great opportunities lined up and you already like know where you're going to intern, and if you already have that set, you can do the coaching with us, and just that's totally fine as well. If you don't have yet an internship, then of course it helps to go through our program because it's a competitive market right now, and we're going to be doing the heavy lifting to kind of find you an opportunity. So whether you want to do it in New York because you feel like that's where you want to anchor your career and you actually want to get a head start here, then the local program would be good. If you want to have an international experience, which looks always fantastic on a resume, obviously, then I think our international program. But I will say that you probably should do it in the fall or in 2022, because now for summer, it's a bit too late. I hope that answers it, Paradis. Let me know. Yes, I can. Yes, go ahead, Victoria.
For the application fee, would it be something that you would only have to pay if you were accepted into the program, or like when applying in general?
No, there's no fee to apply. We didn't want to, put any barriers. Anybody can apply, and only if you get in, then we'll tell you, okay, you got in, congratulations. We'll send you an agreement for you to sign, and then we'll also ask you to put a 25% deposit of the program fee. Those will be the 2 steps for you to confirm. But of course, nobody's paying until they get accepted.
Kind of like another question. If you did the international program in a country, like you don't speak the language, like you went to Berlin, you don't speak like German or anything, then would there be kind of like somebody to help you out with that, or like studying programs that you'd be enrolled in as well?
So basically all the locations, whether it's Hong Kong or Berlin, which are the only 2 of our locations where it's not, English speaking, like actually that's not true because Hong Kong is both Cantonese and English. But all of those locations, everybody is like, those are massive international cities, like mega cities, everybody speaks English. I know so many people that lives for the past 10 years in Berlin that speaks 3 words of German. So you don't have to worry about any of that. And actually all the internships that we offer are English speaking only. Obviously, we have also resources in terms of like, if you want to take German courses and stuff, like we have resources for that, because I do think that every time you travel, if you can actually make a little bit of effort to like learn more about the language and the culture, I think it takes you a long way. So I would definitely recommend it, but it's not necessary. Otherwise it would be too restrictive for us. It would be super tough. You know, we would have to find people that speaks German to go to Germany, which is like not an easy thing to do.
Yeah. and like this would we be paying for the flights there and that kind of thing?
Yes. So that's why so what I would recommend for the international program, because for the local program, it's quite straightforward, right? It's the program fee and that's it. But for the international program, go on our website. On our website, we have a page for each destination where we have all the expenses there. And you definitely need to put a budget together, because I will not lie, it's an investment. You know, whether you do it with or without us, going to intern abroad is a major investment. So you need to make sure that you put together a budget of like the program fee, the visa cost, your insurance, your rent, your house, your flights, your living expenses. It's going to add up. So it needs to be like, you need to have the financial saved. You need to have like, you know, we have a bunch of participants that did in so many different ways. Some people did crowdfunding. Some people did like loans with their families. Don't take a loan to a bank for that. Like, do not do it. You already have enough loans, I'm sure, with your studies, but loan to their family that they would repay when they start working. Some people had money saved up. But I think it's important to have the budget, because what you don't want to do is arrive in Berlin, for example, and then be broke. You know, that's like, you're so sad because you did all of this and then you want to go out, you want to do things like, specifically our participants, when they're together and like everybody's from abroad, like everybody's hanging out with each other a lot. So you want to have enough funds to be able to enjoy the experience and like make the most of it. That's my opinion.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. Any other questions?
Hi, this is Cheryl. I'm right now a second year graduate student majoring in communication design. And may I know that what kind of company, or do you have a limitation or a list for the program that we apply for?
So for Com Design, yes, for Com Design, I would say, I'm guessing it's, you know, we can go two different ways, right? We can go the agency route, or we can go kind of in-house design types of internships. I will say for the agencies, for example, you know, in New York, obviously where Eula works, for example, Mojo Supermarket is a really cool one. We have also Reflex Group. We have a lot of like mid to small agencies that are really focused more into like fashion, luxury, youth culture type of like, we don't work in New York with like TBWA, for example, and McCann like we do in Hong Kong. So all of our agencies are more like smaller, but that also makes them super dynamic, sharp on cool clients usually. So I would say we could go the agency route, or we could also go the route of like, you want to intern for a production company or like a gallery or, you know, a music like label as an in-house, but it would definitely be into a creative company. Like we wouldn't have something that's, for example, like a graphic design internship in a bank or something like that. That's definitely not what we can do. But I think agency or in-house could be solid routes. And usually what we do with the program is when we get to the point where we're going to find you the internship, we look at the list. So for example, Eula, I don't know if you recall, but when Eula was like, you know, about to reach out, she also had her own list, right? So Eula had also companies that she wanted to target on her end, like that we looked at together as like, okay, what can we do to make that happen? And basically we went through the list together and build up the priority. This is number one, number two, number three. And we reached out this way, you know, and Eula, she reached out on her end with like us reviewing the emails and stuff like that. We reached out on our end. And actually in the end, Eula, you found the internship at Super Union, which was not one of our partners. It was like your own connection. How was it, Eula? I forget. It was through a connection, a recruiter, right? That you had Super Union, or was it a cold application?
It was a recruiter that I know at WPP. But like Laura was saying, I think at the beginning you asked me like, even if there's some agency that's not in our API connection, we can try to reach out, like we can find out the best strategy to reach out to them to see whether, and that's basically how I got in Super Union, because I only barely just LinkedIn connected with that recruiter at Super Union, but we had a very good communication thanks to Laura and the API, and things just work out because sometimes I, as the fresh graduate, I don't know what to say to these recruiters, and Laura helped me so much through that.
It's tough. It's tough. So yeah, that's definitely something that we go through a lot, like professional template emails and stuff like that, because it is hard to, you know, it's hard because recruiters, like, they get hundreds of people that contact them every day, you know, so it's like difficult to kind of get in, like, how do you get in? What do you say? How do you follow up? But you don't harass. Like, there's a fine line, right, between harassing and following up with people. What is that fine line? So, and specifically, like, you know, I think for you, La, you were also an international student. Like, that's also an added layer of like a difference, you know, because like, I know I'm French. I don't network in France at all the same way that I would do in the US. Like, if I network like in the US, in France, people would close their door at me. Like, it's totally disrespectful to do, you know, so there's so many different cultures and like ways of talking, ways of selling yourself, etc. that I think that's also, you know, that's also why I think it's really good, because we also facilitate those kind of cultural exchanges, whether it's our international programs or our local programs for international students as well.
And may I ask how long like will it take before we got the offer?
So that depends. That depends. What I'd say usually in terms of the timeline is when you apply and you get in, there's about 10 days to 15 days that it's coaching heavy to refine all your materials, because before we feel like we're ready, we're not going to reach out. Once we have like your finalized portfolio, your finalized resume, that it looks flawless, and that we have kind of the idea of the pitch of where we're going, that's when we start reaching out. Sometimes it takes us 2 weeks to find something. Sometimes it takes us 2 months. I will not lie. Specifically now in this market, it's, let's just say it's going to take 2 months, because like it's a lot of back and forth with the employers, and like they're swamped with applications. So we have to like play all our cards to basically get on the top of the pile, you know, although you're not the nephew of the big boss, we still need to try to make it happen.
Got it. Thank you.
Sure thing. Does anybody had any other questions about the process, the companies, the internship? Any questions for Yula or for me? Yes. I see Emily, go ahead.
Yeah, I just have a quick question, because I just graduated from Pratt as a graphic design student, but I'm interested in like a very niche specific part. Like, I want to be like the graphic designer in like filmmaking or like set design kind of. So it's like really specific. I haven't had like a lot of hands-on experience with that, partly because I was in school studying graphic design, also just because of COVID. So I'm kind of like having trouble getting my foot in the door. So I was wondering, like, when you're applying, are you specifying like which field you want to go into? Like, is my portfolio being compared to graphic designers? Is it just being compared to production designers? Like, do you get to specify what direction you want to go in?
You can definitely specify, for sure. I think actually it's very good to be kind of like quite focused, at least to seem focused, because sometimes it's also just about seeming, you know, faking like you're very focused, but actually you can do other things. What I will say though, and what I think is important right now, is to take the opportunities to upskill, even if it's not exactly in the niche that you're having, just because, you know, I might have not said that 2 years ago, but right now with the situation that we're in, I think that some people are stagnating and not moving because they are really thinking like, I must get only this opportunity within that niche, otherwise I don't do it. And I think that's wrong, because I think there's going to be two types of people that's going to kind of emerge of this pandemic. There's going to be the people that really kind of paused everything to wait for those right opportunities, and there's going to be the people that really kept going and kind of learn transferable skills, upskilled, and shift back afterwards, because you can shift back for sure. And you will see in the end of the day, in the industry, is absolutely not linear, absolutely not. So what I would say is very good to be like precise, and I think that's fine to be in that resume, but I think you can also have one resume for each job. Honestly, I have like, that's what I recommend for a lot of people. With us, because we have the relationships with the employers, we can use the same resume. But if you're applying for yourself, like, I will tell you one thing is that the best thing you can do for yourself is to really look at the job description and build up a different resume for each. It takes longer, it takes more time, but instead of applying to 100 where nobody's going to answer back, you apply to 10 of them, but you apply really well. And I think that's going to, recruiters, they see through that. You know, they really see like, if you put the work. And I think that's why Yula was successful, right? It's because like she really did put the work into the correspondences of like throwing the right names at the right moment, throwing this and that. It takes qualitative outreach. So sorry, I'm just giving you kind of like overall
No,
advice.
cool.
Whether
Also, like, if you don't get into this program, do you have other like coaching programs that you could just do? Like,
yes, we have coaching sessions. Actually, with me, we have coaching sessions, like individual coaching sessions, where we can do portfolio review, we can do resume, we can do networking, we can do online brand as well, specifically for creatives. And we also have essential business skills. And those are things that we can definitely touch upon during the coaching. If you want to do something that's a bit more like tailored as to like how to do it with recruiters or looking over all your materials, that's definitely something that we can do.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Of course.
For the application, like when you're applying, when you're looking at the candidates, do you kind of take a general look at everyone and just pick like crème de la crème, or do you like pick like specify like these person applied, all of these people applied for illustration, all of these people applied for graphic design, let's pick the best one from each of them?
So that's a great question. So actually, we do it as you mentioned. We don't put all the illustrators together and put them in competition. The reason why is that we actually are on a rolling admission process. So that means, for example, which is a bit unfair in some ways, but that's how we operate because we're small. So we basically take applications as they come in. So let's say if you apply next week, you probably will be in less competition with people than on February 15 on that day, because of course that's when everybody's going to apply. That day we're going to have 50 applications to review, and that's when we're going to be like, okay, we have 10 spots left to handle, so we're going to choose 10 out of 50. So I will say what we're looking for in the applications, it's really you and your luck, but it's not only you and your luck, it's also you and your drive. That's really what we're looking for. We're looking for personalities, I will say. I don't care about your grades. I don't care about any of that. What I care about is your narrative, like how you present yourself, where you want to be going. I care about how your resume looks like and how your portfolio looks like. Do I see a potential here? Do I see something that we can work with? That's how usually, we do it. So it's not really a science. It's not an exact science. It's definitely not college admissions. It's more of like, we're just a bunch of professionals looking at profiles and we're like, do we think that those are going to be like the next rock stars, and can we help them? That's pretty much what it is. So put your personality forward in your essays and like, be specific and explain also to us, why is it going to be a win-win? Why are you going to win from us, but also why are we going to win from you, right? At the same time, because we want this network, right? We want to build this up, and we want to have something that like in 10 years we're like, everybody's getting job because everybody knows each other and like everybody's at the top. That's the goal. That's why we launched this program. Any other questions, guys? Yula, sorry, I think you're so sweet to stay with us. I hope we're not disrupting your day, because she's like literally supposed to be working right now. I won't tell Mojo.
No, I'm like side by side. I have two screens.
I've noticed. she's like working on a campaign, at the same time that she's talking to us. So guys, any other questions on your end? Anything else I can clarify?
Hello, thanks for the presentation. Does the person who pays to get into this program have a better chance at getting an internship than one who doesn't?
It really depends. Look, I think that with us, the internship is guaranteed, meaning that if you join this program, you will have an internship because that's our job, right? I don't think that it's impossible to find an internship if you don't do this program. That's, I will never discourage like students and recent grads to go at it by themselves. I think it's absolutely doable. I think it takes a lot of work, and I think it takes to be smart. That's what it is to find an internship. It's not just, as I was mentioning, like sending out random applications all day. It takes like time to think about, how do you leverage your connections? Who do you know? How can you kind of get in with informal interviews? This is what it takes to find an internship, in my opinion. And I think that, we can bring the added value that we will bring is the support system to be able to do that, and something that you can take for your career, not just for this internship, and also the network that we offer. But I will never be the person who will say, if you don't do our program, you're not going to find an internship. You will. If you're a hustler, you can make it happen. People have done it without us, are doing it without us. So it's absolutely possible. And actually you have also Pratt, you have like people like Mackenzie, you have like also, don't forget the resources of your school that you should be utilizing as much as possible. And obviously you guys are doing it because you're on this call. But don't forget also that you are already in a really great support system with Pratt, and that you have very good alumni network as well, because Pratt is like one of the best schools, right? So you should utilize that, whether you do the program or not. That's what you need to like work on, is building up the relationships with people that have done Pratt. Where are those guys now? The ones that did it 10 years ago, they for sure are the creative directors of all the agencies in New York City, maybe half of them, I'd say.
Gotcha. Thanks. Do you have any success rates for people who go into your program and get full-time jobs after?
Well, we have one right here. No, we do. I don't have numbers because we're too small for us to be doing statistics. But I will say that several of our participants, specifically the recent grads, obviously, because we also have people that do it as students during a summer break, right? But for the recent grads, several of them that like really performed well got either extended, or some of them got full time. Some of them had visas, right? So they got extended for the amount of time of their visas, and then afterwards, like, it's not a guarantee that you would get, sponsored. I know Yula is probably in that mindset right now, as all international students are. I was there as well. So it's not a guarantee, but I think that if you perform well and if the timing is right, it's definitely something that will like train you for. There's a whole pre-internship training on like how to communicate with your supervisors, how to like bring forward the best attitude, how to handle deadlines. We're definitely going to equip you for success, but I'm not going to overpromise and underdeliver at all. I'm not going to tell you, sure, you'll get a job. I don't know if you'll get a job. That's if I was telling you that, I would be lying.
All right. Thank you.
Sure thing, Derek. I see Victoria is asking. Oh, you like, can you drop in your IG and your website as well on the chat?
I have a quick question, sorry.
Yes, of course.
So in terms of the logistics, since the time it takes to mentor and apply differs according to different people, how does that, like, is the fee still the same? Because like I think you said it's different depending on how long the internship, but is that just the internship, since we're also paying for the mentoring? So how does that work?
It's a great question. It's just the internship. So let's say you're doing a 3-month internship. That's the prices that you saw today that I showed you, the $19.50 if it's local and $29.50 if it's international. If you want to do 6 months, for example, every additional month after 3 months is $300 USD every additional month. That's for us to keep curating the support, etc. So it's not about the mentoring, like it's just the length of the internship in itself. So even if you were to do, we have people who join our program and they do like longer mentoring, they need they need longer for us also to find opportunities and stuff like that. We're not billing you at the month. We're like basically just categorizing it per internship length.
I see, I understand. Thank you.
Sure thing. Any final questions, guys? We've got 10 minutes left together. Yeah, Victoria, go ahead.
Sorry, there's like noise in the background, but so like for this, we are paying to participate in an internship, like not just for the service. We're paying to actually go and do the internship at whatever company that we do.
You're paying for the service, basically. The internship is part of it, it's a component of it, but basically you have to view it as like, this is the same cost than like one class of one semester, basically, probably less actually. And you have to view it as like, this is kind of a career accelerator. You're paying for our support system, for all the coaching sessions that we're going to offer, all the training that we're going to offer, all our work as well to do the back and forth with the employers and to secure, an opportunity. I work to prepare you for the job interviews. I work to train you before the internship, our events, our on-site support, all of those kind of components. The internship is part of it. It's the main component. And I think that's why a lot of people choose to do this program. But I think, and maybe Yula will say the same, I think that in the end of the day, what people get out of this program is mainly the coaching, to be honest. It's like kind of the step up of like, yes, of course, they got the internship, which makes a difference, because they're able to kind of beef up their resume, but they're getting out of it with much further clarity and like a game plan that feels a little bit more accessible. I think that's probably the main added value, I would say. And of course the connections, because, you know, for example, Yula, she was working at Mojo. We have another participant, Yusel, who's an FIT student. He was finishing his internship with another agency that we pair him with together. And then we tried to push him towards Mojo. And then Yula was already in Mojo, and she pushed, you know, on her end to get Yusel in, and Yusel got in, right? So it's also how it works, right? And Yula, before that, she was talking to one of our other participants, Hugh, who was working at Droga 5, which is like a really good agency. They were chatting about portfolios. So it's also all the connections that you gain. The same thing from a school in some ways, that, you know, you don't just pay for the degree, you pay for the connections. And that's actually what I'm trying to tell you guys as well, is don't forget the connections from Pratt. Like that's the most invaluable one.
And then like a follow-up question, just like if you were to kind of like on your own, like talk to the whoever's in charge of your internship at the actual company, and then like get an extension that way, like it wasn't through your program, would you still have to pay to continue to be at the internship?
No. So basically, if we say you do 3 months with us, for example, if you extend afterwards, fantastic. You don't have to pay us. Of course not. We set it up for you. We did the program. We'll finish the program together. And then by all means, we want you to get hired. You know, we want you to get extended. It's beneficial for us as well. You know what I mean? So we're not going to hold you by the throat saying whatever you gain from us, you're going to pay for, you know, that's not at all this program. Like that's not at all the mentality. And like, to the contrary, we want you to extend. We want you to get hired. We want you to build your career, because that's like exactly what we're trying to build here, you know? So yes, sorry, long answer short. No, you won't have to pay if you extend.
Okay, I was just a bit confused.
No worries. We're here to clarify everything. Anything else, guys? Any other questions? All clear? Yes? All right, guys. So look, I'm gonna drop also as well in the chat our IG. So you can see over there in our Instagram, there's a few highlights, and we have some of the companies that we work with as well. You can see Spring Studios, like High Beast, Vice, like some of the partners that we have. So you can go check that out. You can also see like some of our interns who did takeover to kind of showcase what they were doing at their internship. And then I will also leave here an email address that you guys can reach out to. It's info@ArtBound Initiative. If you guys have any questions, you can go ahead and get on a call with us. You won't get on a call with me. You'll get on a call with an advisor, but you can also ask more questions, you know, exactly specifically to what you want to do, what's your citizenship, what's your situation, and we can kind of like advise as much as possible before you think about submitting your application. Awesome, guys. Well, Yula, thank you so much. I know you're like working on other stuff, but thank you for coming through and for giving, you know, your experience and giving a bit more details of your experience. And I'm super excited about the food blog project. You'll have to tell me all about it afterwards via WhatsApp. And Mackenzie, thank you so much for organizing this session. It's always a pleasure to, you know, chat with you guys and brainstorm a bit about the strategy of the internships. We need to remain positive. Let's not let all this pandemic kind of get the best of us. We need to keep going ahead, whether you're doing it with this program or not. You guys are going to find opportunities, and that's what you need to focus on right now, obviously on top of your studies.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Thank you all for coming. This was awesome. Such great questions, and we've recorded it, so it'll be great for the students or the alumni that couldn't attend today. Thank you all.
Guys.
Thank you.
All right, guys, stay safe, yeah?
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Bye, guys. Bye, Mackenzie. Thank you.
Good to see you.
Yes, likewise.